Hey everyone, Dominic here, bringing you another Ravening Report. This time we've got Vampire Covenant versus Orcs Goblins. This is a bit of a grudge match. Last game against this opponent, we fought out to a bloody 10-10 draw. His list is pretty much the same, and mine's changed pretty drastically. Let's get started. Here's a quick look at the table here. The game type we played was Counter Thrust, with Breakthrough as the secondary objective. Orc Goblins picked their side, and Vampire Covenant dropped first unit. So for deployment here, for Vampires, we have a unit of 10 Dire Wolves with a champion. We've got a Vampire count on a Colossal Zombie Dragon. He's independent with the Mask of Innocence, a Great Weapon, and an Obsidian Rock. I think it's pretty much all I gave him. Next to that, I have a Varkalak, a unit of 3 Bat Swarms, a unit of 24 zombies with a musician, Altar of Undeath next to that. We have a unit of 3 Bat Swarms, a unit of 11 Knights, full command, Black Standard of Zavgod. Inside that unit I've got the Army General. He's independent. He's got Arcane Knowledge, Wizard Master of Evocation is what I took for this game. True Thirst and Legend of the Black King, I think, for equipment. Next to that, I've got 2 units of zombies. There's 25 of them with a musician. There's no actual standard in there. That's just how I was keeping track of which ones had 25 and which one had 24. And lastly, we have a unit of 6 vampire spawn with a champion in it. For the spells here, this was most of my spell selection, plus the Dead Arise, as well as the Bound on the Altar. And here's Orc Goblin's deployment. So he has a Forest Goblin King on a Gargantula. He's got a unit of Common Orcs with bows. In that unit, he's got his Wizard Master of Shamanism. He's got a Giant up front there. He's got a big unit of Common Orcs with paired weapons. These guns are Biggins, and they've got the Green Tide Batter. In that unit, he also has his BSB on a War Boar. Next to that, he's got a big unit of Iron Orcs, Mykonox Totem with his General on War Boar. And I forget what he's got, but he was kitted out mostly just to do damage there, so... behind this, he's got a unit of Forest Goblins with bows. In the woods here, just behind the woods rather, I guess he's got some Forest Goblins, and I believe he's got some Forest Goblins right up here as well that are kind of hidden. And lastly, he's got a Orc Boar Chariot. Those were a little bit of Vanguards, and Vampires took turn 1. This was vanguarding for Vampires on this side, and then into the movements. I guess this is a quick overview of the table here. So that Varkalak just speeds up, gets protection behind this building, and just waiting here. I kind of wanted to run this guy in and try and snipe out his wizard if I can. So, and the rest of the line kind of just moves up. The Knights, I decided to use this piece of Impassable to kind of control the center and watch my flank. And seeing as the objective is Breakthrough, I was going to try and sneak these zombies past. Or he will have to devote these resources to go and get those zombie units, because I don't think just the goblins are going to be able to hack it alone. Especially with these vampire spawn on this side as well. They should just be able to press through and knock out this stuff, so... over here, just making sure that his Gargantula can't actually wheel past the building to get a charge on either the Dire Wolves or the Varkalak there. So, he's in a pretty good spot. We go to Magic Phase. We get 5 and 7, and I store 3 of the dice in the Veil pool. We do Dance Macabre. We move up 1 unit of zombies over here. And it didn't take quite, but these guys are pretty much right beside the 1 unit of Forest Goblin Raiders, the Spider Riders up here. There's a little bit better idea. So that's that. And I think that was pretty much it for Magic there, actually. No shooting, of course, so we go into Orc and Goblins, turn 1. So I didn't quite actually see him doing this. I thought he might, but he does declare a Wog, and or the War Cry, rather, and makes this charge here. The Spider Riders over here can just barely see and get past. This one was going to be a close one, but they declare a charge against those bat swarms that are over there, leaving the Iron Orcs to declare a charge against the flank of these zombies on this side, as well as the Boar Chariot is going to go in the front. And there's that one. The Giant makes it in. He did move the Spiders first, and that's all that they could do after getting past that terrain is just get right there. So that's actually looking pretty decent for me now. Both these units make it in, and he decides to move his Gargantua out of arc of sight of the Zombie Dragon and just set up for some later charges. His center blocks move up a little bit, and he goes to Magic Phase. I think it was actually quite a big whiff for his Magic. He didn't get a single spell off. He fizzled the first one. He dispelled the second, and the third spell he tried to cast, he cast over here. It originally went off, but then I remembered it had the Obsidian Rock, so he just missed the casting roll by 1, essentially, which was well paid for right there. It also means that his wizard did not get Scarification, so the Varkalak is going to have some fun the next round. He does some shooting, kills off Direwolf, kills off a zombie, and that's pretty much it. We go into combat here, and the Spider Riders that were fighting here, they whiff completely. They did a charge, and I actually did 2 wounds. So he was down by 1. He was outside of range for his general, so he was testing on his own. He did have a reroll, but fails it. He flees. I pursue, hoping not to go very far, because 11 actually takes me right into this unit. But luckily, I go the ID11. I go 10 and end up just before it. So we go over here. This is after crumbles. I did 1 wound to the giant, and he knocks me down to about half strength there. And of course, over here, he just obliterates the zombies and pivots on the spot to face these spawn. So that's what the table is looking like as we go into turn 2 for Vampire Covenant. So over here, the Zombie Dragon is actually declaring a charge against these guys. They pass their terror check and do a stand and shoot against him. Didn't manage any wounds. The Varkalak is also going to declare a charge, like I said. He's going to go and try and snipe that wizard. And actually, this charge right here isn't even that far. I only need an 8 with Swift Stride to get in there, so... the spawn charged the goblins here. They actually decide to flee, and they bounce through to the other side. And really surprisingly, I pass my check maximized to redirect into the chariot, and he holds for that one. Over here, the zombie dragon fails his charge in, so just the Varkalak goes in to go get that wizard. This one makes it, of course, and since this charge failed, we move up the dogs to go chaff up that spider. Remaining moves, we get some more bats over here for next turn potential chaffing that I need, keeping within range of 12 inches, and I actually think I move these guys closer over here just so that if they're chaffed up and they'll have to go this way instead. These guys actually move backwards a slight bit. My idea here was the Iron Orcs, if they go this way, he's going to want to bring those back right away or leave him in his deployment zone, which if he leaves those Iron Orcs to go grab the secondary, that's 100% okay by me because I can deal with the rest of his army then. So, yeah, and there's that center chaff. And we go to Magic Phase. I left 2 Veil tokens in the pool this time. We do hasten the hour. We tried to, or no, we did actually. We did just the unit champ, I believe. I sniped out of here, and then we did two arises. One from the guy in the zombie dragon, and one from the general. Bump up their wounds and their numbers quite a bit. And I think we go to magic actually. Oh no, this is shooting. The altar does its aura, knocks another lucky wound off on the giant, and then we go to combat. Over here we just shred the chariot. We do all the wounds necessary and just pivot on the spot. Over here we do manage to kill his wizard, and we stick around. I think I did the 3 wounds plus a stomp and a charge, so he was down, but he sticks around on steadfast rerolling. And then I reformed over just to make way, because I think the zombie dragon can actually fit over here later on. In combat, we give the buff the +1 to hit to the zombies, and they go to town. They put on 3 more wounds onto the giant. He kind of whiffs a bit. As you can see, that's actually me after crumble, and he decides that shifting to face the flank was not the best idea, because he got a few more attacks against him, although, I mean, it's only 2 zombie attacks, but it still proved pretty good. So that's what the table looks like as we go into turn 2 for Orc and Goblins. So up here, that big unit of Iron Orcs is going to go into the zombies. The Gargantula is going to clear off the dogs. And he's actually just going to stay here. He goes to rally these guys. They don't rally. They go off the table. As do the other ones over here. They go off the table. There's that charge making it in. And now he's got no magic, so he goes right to shooting. These goblins take some shots, manage only 1 wound, which is pretty lucky. And over here, he kills off the entire unit. This was actually a point in the game of interest, just because we had actually talked about how silly it is that unit champions should be able to issue and declare challenges. In this case, if I had, because I did have a unit champion, he would have got a charge and, I guess, 4 wounds. So only losing by 5, you know, that's not so bad. I lose 5 more guys, and then there's 3 left after that to fight him the next turn, which I could try and dedicate resources or just let him have it. But I decided rule of cool. There's no way one direwolf is stepping up to fight a Gargantula and challenge him. So we just fought it out. He kills the unit. They crumble. He pivots on the spot like so. He goes over here, beats up on me again. He takes another wound actually on the giant as well this turn. And over here, he just wipes out the zombies. Surprisingly, in this one, he actually did 4 wounds, and I failed all 4 saves. So, or 3, he did 3 wounds, and I crumbled out the last one. But still, I was rather shocked that he got rid of that Varkalok like that, with just strength 4 orcs. Not even paired weapon orcs either, so. That's pretty much how the table looks like as we start turn 3 for Vampire Covenant. So these spawn are going to go into those archers. They stand and shoot. He didn't do a single wound with his stand and shoot. The zombie dragon goes in again. He holds, passes his terror check, does his stand and shoot, doesn't do a single wound. And with only 1 wound left on this giant, I decide to go into the flank here with the altar. We move up the bats to chaff the spider again. And we keep this chaff in front of these guys since they didn't go and clear it up. What I decided over here, since he reformed on his turn to face back this way, I was going to try and buy myself a little bit of time. What I was going to do here is I reformed on the spot to come over here to face his flank, meaning that he'll either go over here and I'll see him still in the flank, and that'll be bad news for a round at least, or he reforms his face and then I'll just go and get out of here again. So that was kind of my thinking there. We go to magic phase. We do a rise. We bring back some more zombies just because I figure I might need them at some point. And the only other spell we got off was the Whispers of the Veil on this orc unit over here. I really wanted to make sure that they disappeared and their leadership was as low as possible. Actually, no, we got Ancestral Aid off again, or as well, on the zombie dragon. We go into shooting, puts the wound on and shooting, so this guy is free up. Combat, we shred these guys. He is steadfast, but goblin leadership and flees off the table. I believe, again, another surprising one is passing my my check here, even on maximize and facing over to the side. So we go to this combat. He challenges me out, which is fine. I win by 1, and his leadership was -3 because of the spell, the fear, and the Mask of Innocence. So he had no character in there, so he's only leadership 4 with a reroll, but still wasn't good. And I decided just to go after him, clear him out. This spider can't see me over here, so that's okay. Orc Goblins, turn 3. He charges the chaff off this time. He charges this chaff off, and he actually marches up a little bit further than I thought he could have, and gets out of arc of sight of these knights safely on the other side of the rock. With no shooting and no magic, that's pretty much it. He kills off these guys, and he kills off these guys, and he pivots to face over here. Now, this is how the table looks like as we're starting turn 4 for Vampire Covenant. Over here, what I decided to do is I want to go into those orcs since they're coming back. I want to try and get their numbers lowered as much as possible. Hindsight, probably should have gone into these guys just because they've got no save and I could have shredded them, but what I did instead is I charged the rear of this unit with the altar, thinking at least I can hold him there for a turn. So both those charges make it in, and I think I hold back with the zombies because now I've only got 2 scoring units, and I still want to go get over there in the next 2 turns to get secondary objective. I was kind of thinking about this, and then I think I decided just to push them forward afterwards. But the knights do reform. We face back towards the center of the table, and there's that push. We go to magic phase. We managed to get Ancestral Aid off on these guys and heal the wounds that they took in combat. So we're back up to full strength here. And that was pretty much it. We go into combat. Over here, I whiff pretty hard. All I had was a charge and a rear, and I think maybe a wound. He didn't do a wound back, but just with things, I think I just crumbled that wound. So, not looking good. I thought I might be able to do a little bit more damage. Even with the aura, I didn't really do anything. Over here, this combat was absolutely nuts. I did 11 wounds out of my 19 attacks. And he saved, on a 5-up, all but 4. So, I was hoping for quite a few more wounds there. But either way, he made some amazing save rolls there. He does beat up on me. This is after Crumble. And I still have a unit there, but they're pretty depleted. And he's got a lot of orcs left. So start of turn 4 for Orc and Goblins. He charges that Gargantula into the rear of the altar. I didn't really see that at first, but it didn't really matter. This thing was going away. And this way, this guy's over here. So we go to combat. He wipes out the altar, overruns into the zombie dragon, and pivots on the spot to face these knights. In this one, it was actually really surprising. The same thing. This time, I did 8 wounds, and on a 5+ again, he saved all but 2. So, out of the, what was that, 19 wounds I did in 2 rounds of combat, he only took 6 wounds. So, that was really good. wipes him out, and pivots just to face the center. And this is kind of what the table looks like as we go into turn 5 for Vampire Covenant. At this point, I kind of knew that the right thing to do was just to hold back with these guys, let this one win, and push these guys to go and try and grab the secondary objective. But that's kind of the going to win the game instead of just playing a friendly game between friends. So what I decided instead is we're just going to charge. It's the much more fun thing to do. So we go into the rear of the Gargantula. I'm just going to challenge him out with the zombie dragon anyway. And over here, we're going to go try and snipe his BSB and just pivot on the spot to face whatever comes this way if that unit breaks. We also, I think in my last turn, I had put these guys here. In turn 4, I had summoned a unit of zombies. They're going to go into the flank as well. Part of my thinking here was I was going to try and rise some more guys just to hold them in case things go really, really poorly over here. Or even if they go great over here, we still would like to hold this unit where it is. So, yeah, everything makes it, and we go to Magic. So over here, we do Whispers of the Veil. We get that off on the Gargantula. We got Ancestral Aid off on the Knights. And that was pretty much it. Didn't get this one off on the zombies. We fight this out. Because I didn't get a rise, I just crumble out. His general is right on the corner, so we go to... I didn't take a picture. We do this combat up here. I did snipe his BSB, and I actually did quite a bit of damage too. I got it down so that he was the same amount of ranks as me, so he wasn't steadfast, and he was down by like 7 or 8, so he broke automatically. I tested a restrain. Luckily, it restrained. I thought about going after him, but even like at 12, this charge to the rear here was still very makeable for him. So we turn and face music, and of course he comes in, he charges on his turn 5. This one over here, the spider surprisingly only does 1 wound to the zombie dragon, and I think I did 3 back to him. He is stubborn, and he passes his check on a 4. Or no, on a 6, because he's a king. So he passed the stubborn check on a 6. There was no reroll because BSB was already dead. Got really lucky there. And apparently I skipped some pictures. He goes to this one here. We knock off a couple of the Iron Orcs, but not very many. He absolutely shreds the unit with great weapons and crumbles out the general. And as such, this guy takes over the zombies. What I decided to do after in this turn as well, his turn, I did kill his, put the last few wounds on the, I think I actually did quite a few more wounds that first time. I think I may have done like 4 or 5 wounds the first round of combat. Either way, the second round of combat, what we managed to do is finish this guy off. He does retaliate, and he puts 4 wounds on me. So this guy's pretty depleted. These guys, they do run off the table here in his next turn, at turn 5 as well. So my turn 6, what I decided to do was I could get these guys just so that they're within the secondary range. But doing so and trying to preserve these points at the same time isn't going to work. Simply put, he's already getting half the points here. So what I did is, instead of charge him, I just put the zombie dragon up front. He'll kill him. He'll do that last wound, no problem. But at least my guys will be in the secondary objective, and that's exactly what happens. We do Hand of Glory on myself just to cast a spell. He stopped me from raising my wounds, and that's pretty much it. His turn 6, he charges in and wipes him out. But like I said, because of it, I did manage to get the secondary for breakthrough, and his guys were just a little too far away. We do have the points, though, because of the playing for fun. He did grab quite a few points there when he got both of the vampires and that Barrow Knight unit. He was up. He won 13-7. But of course, with the secondary, it goes to a 10-10 draw. And for the second time, we come out to a complete push. So, really fun game. Pretty different list. It's fun to use a Colossal Zombie Dragon, even though they're not necessarily the greatest. Luckily, I was playing against a mostly close combat army, and not the greatest leadership either, so he did pretty good this game. But yeah, fun game. Hope you guys enjoy these battles, and stay tuned for the next one.